Well, good morning, everybody. We are in Montana, in Cook City, Montana, right next to Yellowstone. It's about 4 miles away. Today is an important day because we start packing up to leave and go to our property in Arizona. So we're pretty excited about it. We have a lot to do today. We're not leaving for another 5 days, but we're gonna start packing up and getting things ready. We've been here for 6 months. Last year in Arizona, we were next to the Colorado River for 6 months, but this time we're gonna go to our own property. So, and I cannot wait to show you guys. So today, this video is gonna be all about kind of updates to our vintage Airstream and how we've managed to live in it for, it's going on almost 5 years, and all the updates we did on solar, all the updates we did on just regular maintenance. I'm going to go through what worked, what didn't work, and kind of give you an all-around picture of our 1976 Airstream Argosy and how it all worked out. So anyway, yeah, we got a busy day. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we bought a brand new truck. So even though the van is not dead, it's not broken, we're actually getting the differential drained and worked on this week. We decided to get a brand new truck. This is a big one. This is a F-250 Super Duty extended cab Ford. It's got the 6.8 liter in there. It's got a towing capacity of 14,000 pounds, which is more than enough for the Airstream. But it was time. It was time for a new truck, and yeah, we're pretty happy with it. Okay, so how has our cubic grizzly stove that we bought in Canada, mine was like almost 6 years ago, how's it holding up, and how's it worked for us during the last 4.5 years? Well, as you can see, we still use it all the time, especially up in Montana, where it's very common, especially right now, that your high will get up to about, maybe 65, 70 degrees, but your low be 28, 25, maybe 20. So we use the heck out of this thing. So let me give you a really good update on what's worked and what's not worked. Okay, so here are the stats on the Cubic Grizzly mini stove, wood burning stove. This is a 3-inch right here. This is a 3-inch double wall flue pipe. It's a 3-inch, or it's a double wall actual firebox. I've had to replace everything inside at least once. I clean the flue out here, take this completely apart, and I clean it about once every 6 months. Even more if you're going to burn a lot of that pine wood in very cold climates. The creosote builds up pretty quick. But all in all, I've only had to replace everything inside one time, and they sell all that stuff on cubicmini.com. And then of course we have the heat fan, and it has worked exceedingly well on a 30-degree night, even when it hovers about 25. For at least 4 hours, continually putting wood in the fire. I can get the Airstream in here at approximately 82 degrees. And then once that happens, I put the bio brick in and let it burn. I go to bed. So it does give you a great amount of heat. So this has worked out great. Would we have put it in the same spot? Probably not. But it is what it is, and it's worked so far. So outside, and we had this in Arizona as well as we have in Montana. This is our wood box. So this is where we really keep a bunch of extra wood. The Duraflame fat wood works awesome. And then we've got these bio bricks, and the bio bricks you can buy at Ace Hardware if they're still making them. They're hard to find. You can buy these on Amazon. They're very expensive. If you can find one at Ace Hardware, they're really cheap. But this is hardwood, pressed hardwood. And this bio brick, once I get the fire really going, this thing is every bit of a 3 to 4 hour burn time. Definitely maybe a 2 to 3 hour heat time. This is our spare wood. So I have a friend who's a cabinet maker out here in Montana, and he will give me all kinds of pine, leftover pine, and this is kind of our storage box. And I'll come in with like a circular saw or jigsaw, and I will cut the heck out of it and kind of use pine instead of the hickory or apple wood that is kind of expensive at Ace Hardware. But most of the time we have free wood. It just takes a little bit of work to cut it. So if you've watched the original Airstream renovation and build, I kept the old table, and this was the fold-out table that Airstream Argosy had attached. That was so dysfunctional. Ariane and I could not stand it. So I found this at an antique store, and I think it worked out great. It pulls out, and you can make table after table. Got 3 tables in one, and so we use this a lot for my laptop. We use that for dinner tray, and then we just use that to put our plants and a bunch of junk on there, and that's worked out really, really well. And then when we travel, we just bungee cord it, and it works. This has worked out much, much better than the original table that we had with the Airstream Argosy. That was completely dysfunctional. So I know a lot of people will be asking about our solar system. Our solar system was completely redone. I used to have 4 6-volt batteries. Now I have 2 6-volt batteries. And what I did was I purchased a Goal Zero. And there's my Starlink right there. The Goal Zero was bought for a couple different reasons. One, it has a DC outlet, which I can take the DC outlet and run it into my fuse box via an Anderson switch, and just shut off the main batteries here and run the whole 12-volt fuse system off the Goal Zero. Which it's the Goal Zero 1000. It has plenty. It's a lithium battery, so when my house batteries get a little low, I can just solar it up, and then I've got a whole nother. I mean, we run a refrigerator full time on solar. Since I've switched it out and made it a little bit more efficient, things have gotten so much better. We have a 40 amp charge controller. We've got a 3000 watt inverter, and plenty of storage. I also installed a bunch of these 3.0 USB. It's got a little slot to keep it from dusty. The blue light's on all the time to let me know the 12 volts working, but that's really come in handy. Instead of doing this, which we always have had to do, now we can just plug into the 12 volt system, and it works much better. So real quick, I'll explain kind of like how our solar setup works without going into a lot of detail. We've got 600 watts of solar up on the Airstream. Okay, at any given time, it's all ran in series, so I'm pulling about 90 something volts into our battery bank. However, that's not always best. It's not the best situation. We have a mountain range right over here, and so in the morning time, the sun has to kind of get up over this mountain and up here to hit the top of the Airstream. So what I've done is I have 2 100 watt solar panels ran in parallel. So I just run this, my Starlink, and I run a couple other cables out of here when we boondock for a long time, or we're at a location for a long time. So I just plug these babies in and just kind of lay them right there, and they get the great sun then when it comes right up over here. The sun comes up, so they get plenty of sun. So we have plenty of power. So that gives us almost 800 watts of solar coming in to the Goal Zero and the 2 AGM batteries, which I'm so happy I replaced those from the old Trojan 205 lead acid batteries. I can't even tell you the difference that those have made. Battery technology has come a really super long way, and the Goal Zero is a lithium battery, so it works out perfect. I also installed some Ethernet jacks. These are ran right out of the Starlink. There's another USB jack right there. And these, well, we work on our laptops. We're not doing Wi-Fi. We can connect right to the Starlink, which is much, much faster. I installed those last winter. So 5 years ago, we bought an Airhead composting toilet. It is still working today. We use it all the time. We have never had a problem with it. So, you know, we like it. We'll be using it on the 40-acre property. Bathroom is still going strong. It's still, you know, I mean, it's a small bathroom, but it has done everything that we've wanted to do. So nothing I would change here at all. Everything has worked exactly the way it was supposed to work. Okay, so I get a lot of questions about paint. You know, how did the paint job do with the Argosy? Because it's, you know, it is aluminum. It is harder to paint aluminum and have the paint stick for a long time. So here's the truth about the paint. The topside marine aluminum paint and primer did pretty good. I have to say it's been 5 years. It's held up pretty well. The auto body paint that we used, the orange part or the copper part with Sherwin-Williams, has held up pretty good. Has it chipped? It has chipped. It's really kind of chipped way up on top by the solar panels and the air conditioning. And I think the reason it's done that is because it takes a brutal amount of weather, a lot of Arizona sun, and then Montana snow, which is sandpaper, in the spring. So this spring, for example, we had, almost 24 inches of snow on top of the Airstream, and then in the spring it melts pretty quick. So it kind of acts like sandpaper as it kind of rolls down the Airstream a little bit. So yeah, it did take some chipping. That, and we get hail out here. So far, we've never had any kind of like catastrophic hail, but we do get hail out here. So yeah, it has chipped a little bit. I probably, in hindsight, I probably should have put 5 coats on both the topside marine aluminum primer and paint, and then the Sherwin-Williams auto body paint. I probably should have put 5 coats on it. I put 2.5, but with aluminum probably wasn't enough. So that's been the only thing that I'd probably have to do completely over again. And I wish I would have taken a little bit more time with it, but it still looks really good. I still wax it, and I still get a lot of compliments on it. So I'm going to take it for the time being. We'll see what happens this winter in Arizona, but so far so good. So I think all in all, as far as the small little updates we've made on the Airstream, like Ethernet jacks, USB plugs, switching out our 12-volt system to make it lighter and more efficient. The Goal Zero was a game changer, especially with the Starlink, and really kind of just tweaking the Airstream the way it fits our lifestyle, which was really super important, which is hard to do sometimes when you're first renovating a trailer and you have not been on the road. Is it going to be, will it meet your lifestyle, and will it be functional? So our Airstream is pretty functional for us. You know, we've been in it now for 4.5 years, almost 5 years really. No, it's really worked out really well. We're happy about it. Over the years, have we collected a lot of things? Yeah, we have. And it's getting tighter and tighter each time we stay here in Montana and then going back to Arizona. So it is getting a little bit tighter, which is kind of why we're anxious to get to the 40-acre property, because, I think probably the first thing we do is get a shipping container and put all of our stuff in it. So, which is another reason why we got the new truck, because the van just couldn't do it all anymore. So I think it's been, all in all, I think it's worked out pretty well. So next year, all roads indicate that we're going to come back to Cook City for the summer. I have a job with the county. They don't have anybody else to do what I do. Ariane, they want her to come back. And so I think we're going to come back. If we do, we will be staying in this thing, in this A-frame cabin right here. And we will not be pulling the Airstream. It's a hard tow from Arizona to Montana and then going back twice a year. It's been hard on the van, which is why we had to get a new truck. So I think that's the plan so far. That could change, you never know. But all in all, after 4.5 years of being a nomad and kind of finding our kind of jive with the whole Montana, Arizona thing, back and forth, staying in Quartzsite. We were in Quartzsite last winter, and then we were at the Parker, Lake Havasu, and then Parker Dam last summer. It's kind of worked out really well for us. And we would probably continue to do that as long as it was financially feasible for us to come up here and work for the summer. Rent is starting to go through the roof up here. Cook City is becoming the lifestyles of the rich and famous, and they're forcing a lot of workforce out. So we'll see, we'll kind of see how that plays, but that's kind of like everywhere USA right now. But all in all, I think it's worked out. We're happy. We love the Airstream still. And everything's really good. I want to give you an update on really kind of, how the Airstream is kept up, what tweaks we've made, how things are going. We're going to definitely try to push out a little bit more content. It's been a rough 2 years for that. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, I think I'm getting ready to do a live before I leave here, and just to answer a bunch of Q&A if you guys have any. And tell you a little bit what it's like, what's it like living with the grizzly bears. And yeah, we've had a grizzly bear right in front of the Airstream a few times. And what's it like living in such a remote town? This town could also almost be called off-grid. Although it doesn't have electricity and water, that's barely hanging out there. And some other things. So I think I'll do a Q&A maybe, I don't know, maybe as soon as this weekend or something. So anyway, you guys, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, appreciate it, and appreciate everybody sticking around for our YouTube channel for as long as you guys have. Thank you so much. We'll see ya.